For June the 25th, 2021, we talk about a bunch of older games and we do a free play multiplayer. Welcome to level 376. My name is Cole Ross.
I'm Dennis Furia.
I'm David Maysmith.
I'm Ben Merkel.
And you're listening to The Level. It's a podcast for people who love video games. Welcome back, David.
Hey, good to be back.
Yeah. What's happening? What's going on?
Honestly, not a whole lot. Just kind of, bobbing and weaving,
Cool.
one day at a time.
Yeah. Do anything cool over the past couple weeks?
And honestly, no. It's just been pretty chill.
Yeah.
Rediscovered a love of Vietnamese food.
Oh, dang.
Wait, was that okay?
I really miss Vietnamese food. There's really not a lot of that around up here. I would have to go to Cleveland or Columbus to get a hold of it, and I do miss my pho. It's not just a hearty meal, but it's an activity. You know, you get the broth, and then you get all the stuff on the side to mix in. You know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, love a pho. Do you do beef, chicken, or do you get like real adventurous and do tripe?
So I did beef and meatballs.
Oh yeah.
So I want to try the like cowtail or whatever. Just because that entertains me and sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, still meat.
So yeah.
Nice.
I mean that or it's going to be like caramel and cream,
Yeah, just the concession stand favorite. And then you just get the tray on the side, and instead of sprinkling noodles in, you sprinkle in some Big League Chew.
Yeah, exactly. Really spice up the dish.
Yeah.
So
It's the first time I've thought about Big League Chew in a long time. Sorry.
It's a weird product for kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to start them on that on the chewing tobacco early.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the thing I don't understand is like, why is beef such a big thing in Vietnam? Like, that doesn't seem like an area that would be particularly amicable to beef.
You know what? I honestly have no idea. I couldn't tell you. I'm happy that they're into beef because I mean when I get pho, I do like the flank steak with it.
Yeah. I was gonna say
nice and
it
tender.
could just be that it tastes really, really good.
Yeah, I think that it's a meat that tastes good.
Oh, there we go. Luckily, we do not have Jala on this episode to castigate us.
Yes, she is not judgmental as far as people who self-restrict their diets go. So,
yeah, but it's more fun to pretend that she is.
What? I like to pretend that my friends are annoying.
I had to make up imaginary friends, and they all suck.
Oh God, it's like Twitter, just making up a guy to get angry at. What's going on with you, Ben?
Oh, not much. I'm going to Portland this weekend for a midsummer party, so I'm excited about that. That's
Cool.
I guess the big news on the horizon.
Are you going to be watching Ari Aster's Midsummer, or is this
no?
Gotcha.
It's so my friend who lives in Portland used to work at IKEA there, and they have a couple friends who are literally from Sweden, and so they host a midsummer party every year.
Oh, cool.
And so they like make food, and it's like Thanksgiving, but like they're literally making all the food. And so on the one hand, that's awesome. On the other hand, it's like, man, that's too nice. And
right.
And they get a bunch of like Swedish booze too, and like are very generous with it. So yeah, it'll be a fun time.
Yeah, nice.
It's supposed to be like 100 degrees though, so we got to figure that detail out.
Yeah,
So.
is the heat wave extended up to Seattle too, or?
I don't know. Like it's like like I'm a little bit sweaty, but I got a fan, so it's it's not that big of a deal in Seattle yet. But
Right.
who knows?
I'm not going to have us re-record any of that. The backup recording or the little Discord call recorder that we have disconnected. That's what that was. It wasn't people
through a tantrum.
Yeah. That wasn't like two of us leaving the call because you're not actually watching that good horror movie.
That's our NSA agent was like, all right, they're not doing anything weird.
Yeah. No, they're
not talking about terrorism this time.
Right. So we're going to be using the backup recording this time, which means it'll be easier to edit, but it will sound worse. But that's cool. Are you gonna bring anything regardless, or is it like one of those things where it would be rude to show up with something?
Yeah, so I asked about it, and today they sent a text like, "Oh, we don't need anything. Just bring like yourself and whatever, like a beer if you want a beer or something like that."
Okay.
But I feel like I need to bring something, so
right.
The brainstorming has begun.
It's a hard habit to shake. Yeah.
I feel like that's a Midwest thing, right? Like
maybe,
like you got to be polite, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. How what you up to, Dennis?
Let's see. We in the past couple weeks have started feeling comfortable going back to restaurants. And there's some friends I'll meet with pretty regularly, and we've just kind of gone to different breweries and restaurants that we haven't been to for a while. And my God, I know it hasn't been this way for everyone, but some of the places we found have gotten massively upgraded over the course of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if the name Sammy's rings a bell for my people who've been in Cincinnati.
Vaguely it does.
Okay.
I think we may have had like lunch catered from there a couple times when I worked in an office.
Yeah, it's a burger joint. It's up in Montgomery and kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Complete, at least before, complete dive restaurant, but really good burgers and a good selection of beer. And met with some friends out on the patio there. And it was like watching Extreme Home Makeover driving up, like new coat of paint, new patio. The menu was all new. Same manager, and they did a big mural on one of the walls telling the story of the history of the restaurant. And I mean, everything we had there was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and it was good before, but it was like dive bar food. It's good now, and it's like, oh man, this is like. This is nice food.
This isn't just like satisfying food. This actually like there's complexity and difficulty to the process of making this. It feels
This has merit, not just calories. and so I had a great time there, and then went to another place nearby, a brewery called High Grain. It's an eco-friendly brewery. All their practices are sustainable and stuff, and they actually took over an old police station. Or it was like a city building or something like that. But go ahead.
I feel like High Grain should be some sort of like CBD brewery or something.
Yeah, it's a missed opportunity. I'll give you that.
Either that or a gun store. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
But what they do have is really good beer and amazing, mostly vegetarian menu items. So go figure on that. But the cauliflower wings are like the best I've had. So I'm just in a renaissance of like going to places being like, oh, let's just meet up at a dive bar. Oh wait, that was a culinary experience. So we'll go to another dive bar. Oh, that was a culinary experience. Like, I don't know what happened over the pandemic, but a lot of these places up their game.
And just getting frustrated, like, where can I get some fries that are somehow both overcooked and cold?
So that's kind of interesting because around here, it's kind of the thing has been just all of the restaurants dramatically decreasing their menu. Just like much more limited menus.
I assume they all did like to go and stuff during the pandemic, or
yeah, probably.
Okay.
So, like, what my guess on why those restaurants, like, it seems like the ones that you've gone to have upgraded is it's possible that they were not necessarily hit their profitability stayed okay, but they also looked and thought, well, we were going to do some, remodels and stuff anyway.
Mm-hmm.
We have a whole year where nobody's going to be in the store, so we can just do it.
Well, that's what I'm wondering is like for those that were in a place that they could survive, all the home improvement that just never had an opportunity to happen.
Yeah.
Suddenly there was a huge window for it. So I could totally see that.
Yeah, because you don't want to, if you're going to do a big remodel, you got to close for like a week or two and lose that. Whereas, that would be my guess, but it's based on nothing but a guess. So,
there's either that or, both of the places I mentioned kind of smack of independently wealthy person's passion project,
right?
For lack of a better term, and almost like I wonder if that factored in, but I am certainly reaping the benefits here. You guys come back to Cincinnati, I've got some places.
Can I share one sad news restaurant related for me? Is the one restaurant I used to get like to go from opened up and are like letting people in, so they're not doing to go anymore. And it's like,
no,
how am I going to get my Malaysian food now? I don't want to deal with people.
I kind of assumed that to go was going to stick around. That's surprising to hear.
So what are you going with for Malaysian food? Is this like satay or?
They have some curries, and then they just have like, I don't know, like meat and rice, like goodness. I don't know.
Nice.
I don't have an awful lot of anything. I actually have gone to restaurants for the first time in a while, but like nothing special. Like I went to a Mexican restaurant with my mom as belated payment for doing a handyman thing. And then I had to watch my grandma over the weekend because my family was away, and it's just generally good to have people around. So I took her to a Perkins, which is like a Denny's, but they've got a bakery out front. Man. Yeah,
I remember Perkins.
Mm-hmm. There's a Perkins
Isn't
a couple
that
towns
like
over.
Denny's for people over 60?
Yeah. I've always thought of it as an old person's restaurant, but also that might just be because my grandma has always liked it a lot. So
I feel like everyone's grandma likes it a lot.
And like there's nothing not to like because you go there and you get breakfast food. And
what's the difference between Perkins and Ponderosa?
Ponderosa is a steak buffet. So it's a buffet restaurant, but the idea is that they've got like a steak section, and they are constantly putting out steak, which is what you want is steak that has been sitting out for a while and people have been poking over. Yeah.
See,
aged to perfection.
I'm a big fan of Ponderosa. Or I think our equivalent was like Ryan's where we grew up. But
that was more of a like, I don't know that they had the steak kind of thing. Like Ponderosa was like a Sizzler kind of deal would be that. Ask me anything about old and discredited restaurants. Do you want to hear the difference between a Rax and an Arby's?
Yes.
I've never heard of a Rax before.
RAX.
So we're gonna have to spend 45 minutes on that.
I don't have that many games to talk about. No, Rax also sold roast beef sandwiches, very similar to Arby's, but they had a salad bar inside.
See, they really missed the calling by not being like a Hooters competitor.
I think it was founded and it failed in more innocent times. Yeah.
Fair enough. So one last story, I promise, and it's probably not going to be the last.
Okay.
But one of the highlights of my childhood was there was a Perkins near my house growing up with a malfunctioning sign.
Okay.
So that it read Jerkins. And we found no amount of delight in that.
Oh, that's wonderful.
No shortage, no small amount of delight in that.
Children.
we found no small amount of delight.
We filed many complaints with the city until the issue was rectified.
Yeah, I fumbled no small amount and no end. There's but that's good stuff.
But yeah, aside from eating breakfast food with my grandma, my backyard is in a complete state right now, an incomplete state, I should say, because halfway through mowing it, the dang old mower deck on my mower stopped working. My mower my mower will go, but the blade will not. So my backyard is half mowed.
This sounds eerily like a Dr. Seuss poem, the way that you're phrasing it.
What?
It just sounded like there's some rhyming to it or some rhythm to the way you're describing it.
It's just me saying the word mow over and over again.
On a related note, could you say dangle mower in a slightly more Boomhauer way?
Dangle mower, boom. Yeah, so I'm probably gonna have to pay a couple $100 to get that repaired.
Yeah. I feel your pain. Went through that just before.
Yeah. So
I actually the backup mower that I bought just for the motor has a completely functional mower deck to it. And it's just sitting useless in my backyard right now. So if it comes to we might have, one dead mower saves X amount of lives if it's a organ donor.
Oh gosh, I don't know if it would be interoperable. Is it an Aaron's 42-inch mower deck?
I would have to go look.
Okay.
I don't think it's 42-inch. I think it's like 36-inch. So.
Okay, yeah. No, this is a 42-inch. Yeah. So I hope that it doesn't go for too long, because it honestly does look embarrassing. And the way my neighborhood is, there are like 7 or 8 yards that I'll look in on mine.
Oh, no.
so it's like, because I'm at the back of the cul-de-sac, so I'm sorry. I've got more than the usual number of people who can see into my backyard. But that's a boring problem. Not boring as video games, at least hopefully. And we talk about those on the show sometimes. So why don't we do the regular kind of show? What with the grind, the multiplayer, and the end boss? And get started with
The Grind.
The Grind, where we talk about the games we have been playing over the past period of time or so. David, you were away the longest, so I will throw to you first.
Yeah, I got pretty much nothing.
Okay.
I've a little bit, messed around some more with No Man's Sky, but that's been, that's one of those games you just can't play periodically. The most notable thing is they updated the graphics, although I'm not sure I've been able to tell the difference. I think the only main difference is at night, you can much more impressively see like stars and other planets and stuff, which is cool. And more gameplay-wise, they expanded on their companion system, so the ability to recruit the various animals you find. So you can now recruit flying animals and then ride around on them.
Sweet.
So I currently have this thing that looks kind of like a sort of like a flying manta ray, except it's made out of like jellyfish jelly.
Gooey.
So it's very cute.
Is it just one of those giant like slap hands toys, the rubbery material that you had as a kid?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I just kind of wing the slap hands and you're off.
Nice.
The other thing is there's a genus called Diplo that are basically brontosauruses.
Like the or like the electronic music artist Diplo.
Maybe.
Okay.
But their most notable trait being that after you get an egg from one of these creatures, you can kind of genetic engineer it to adjust its stats, and you can just make them just ludicrously large, multiple stories tall, and then ride around on their heads. So yeah, that is my plan. I'm not accomplishing any of whatever the hell you're supposed to be accomplishing in this game, but
No, it sounds like you're doing it right to me.
Yeah.
So, do you guys, with time, do you have any more perspective on how that first big community event kind of impacted the meta of the game? Like, is everyone rolling around with endgame stuff now, or like, do you feel any lasting changes from that?
So, I would say the biggest thing I've noticed is that the endgame ship from the first expedition was like everyone's default ship for the second expedition, which isn't surprising. Mm-hmm. And part of it, in order to tell more, one, the reward for the second expedition, the Normandy, is much more of kind of a thing you'd only see solo or if you were directly grouping with a player, because you can't just send those out to do things. The other thing is, when the game isn't explicitly doing multiplayer things, you tend not to just see people as much. So I think it'll take a little bit of time to see where that goes, but I could definitely see that being a thing. My main gameplay change is that from doing this, I found out that you can mooch on other players' mining operations. Just go in and there'll be people that have set up just massive mining rigs that have are every couple hours amass millions of dollars worth of loot.
Okay,
and you can just take said loot and sell it.
Yeah, you just glean.
This is an improvement to the game.
It keeps me from having to deal with the base building mechanics. So yeah,
fair.
So yeah, I haven't been able to figure out if you taking from it actually keeps someone else from having it. It's actually a little weird because I haven't been able to find anything that says it doesn't, but at the same time, I haven't found anyone complaining about that, which you would think would be a thing.
Yeah.
So
they're all dropping by someone. They're too busy dropping by someone else's miners to check their own.
Yeah, I mean that could definitely be a thing. So it is interesting sometimes seeing people just just people that are actually good at the base building mechanics, how they set things up and how just massive some of these things can be.
Mm-hmm.
But so other than that, I downloaded the Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance or Forgotten Realms Dark Alliance.
Oh yeah, that's on Game Pass, right?
Yeah, that's on Game Pass, so we should definitely co-op it. It currently has a score of 62% on Metacritic, so it's definitely going to be a great game.
I mean, I've been curious about it ever since the terrible trailer that I got, and I swear that's not me being ironic. I once they revealed that yes, it's Baldur's Gate and you're playing as the Drizzt adventure people, that immediately became oh yeah, that feels like it is made for me. So
see that for me was significantly decreased my interest because I don't know, playing as Edgelord and friends.
Yeah, Edgelords don't have friends.
I mean, yeah, Drizzt pretty much tries his best not to have friends.
For a while, and then he's good, and then he's really bad for a while, and then he's good again.
I think, when you go in and select your character, it lists, class and, class, alignment, stats, all that thing. And, all of the characters are just chaotic good.
Oh yeah,
which I feel like it's kind of stereotypical.
Yeah, I mean they're the good guys of the story. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
True, but just being like, we're all like generically,
they never had a session 0.
Well, and it's just like, we're all non-threateningly edgy good.
Mm-hmm.
No.
But yeah, also their stats all really, really suck. Like it's depicting them as like their actual stat rolls, strength, dex, all that stuff. But like the highest any of them have as stat is a 10.
Oh, weird.
Which by way of comparison, like 8 is average.
Right. Like like 8 would be like an average like townsperson, whereas like 10 is your average adventurer.
Right.
Yeah. Huh. Well, I guess they're giving you room to grow. I don't know. I also don't know. I don't know when the story starts. So
I mean, I guess it's a retelling of the Icewind Dale series.
Okay. Yeah.
From some of the reviews I've read.
Yeah.
That I don't think I actually read that one. I read the trilogy right before and right after that, I think.
Yeah. So you read the Homelands, like the Drizzt Origin, and then I think the like the Spine of the World ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be interested to see if they my hope is that they find some way to recreate the horrible like monologues at the beginning of every like section.
Oh jeez.
Like I don't know. I think it'd be hilarious to just have like Drizzt start monologuing just randomly.
Why not? Yeah. So you'll have to let us know what happens when you how you like it when you play it.
Yep.
I imagine what happens when you play it is you'll probably kill a bunch of stuff and the numbers will go up.
yeah, that seems to be kind of what it's going for. I mean, if they subverted that would be really interesting.
Yeah. Huh. And so that's all you got. No Man's Sky?
That's all I got.
Cool. Let's see. Ben, how about you?
I just got one tiny one, but it's a pretty sweet game. I'm gonna post it in chat because I don't know how to say it.
Okay.
This is like, I think it's like $2 or $3 on Steam, but it's called SNKRX, something like that.
SNKRX. So let's call it SneakRX or Sneak Prescription.
Yeah. Snake Doctor.
Yeah.
So this was it's like a small indie game. It was made by one person over like the course of 3 months.
Okay.
But it's a really fun game. It's kind of like a Geometry Wars type setup where you start off as a square and you can go turn left or right, but you're always moving forward. So I guess it's kind of like Snake in that respect.
Geometry Snake.
Hence
yeah. Random enemies will spawn on the map and will just try and like run into you. And if you run into one another, you both like deal damage to one another and you like knock them back a bit. So on the first level, you can just like run into everyone and kill them. But they start to get harder and harder with each successive level. And the part that's really the cool part about this is you're not just a square, but you are some sort of like D&D class with whatever you pick. And so... And it's even like beyond the typical D&D classes. There's like, it's color coordinated by like different roles, but there's like a rogue class type, but there's different types of like characters that might have like a rogue attribute to them. There's like mages, sorcerers, warriors, healers, whatever that category is. And
so
the idea
they have like a marching order.
Yes. And so you don't just have one square, but as you recruit more of these people, you have a party, and you, like in Snake, you kind of grow to be longer. But then what that translates to is it's harder to kind of avoid the bad guys. So you have to get more creative with how you like avoid them so that you don't take damage. But each square has a different attack that they just automatically do. Like you don't have to manually control any of that sort of thing. And so kind of what it's about is like recruiting combinations of people in the right order so that you get really effective like combos going. Mm-hmm. And so it scratches a similar itch as like Slay the Spire as far as like trying to find like busted combos to like beat the game. And so every aspect of the game is kind of either upgradable or I don't know, like maybe like retryable in a way, but you have to pay money to do it. So like in between rounds, like so a round is just like fighting these creatures, and if you die, you restart, and if you don't, you go to this like a shop type screen. And so you have 3 different classes that you can buy, but again, your party size is limited to 7 people or 8 people if you beat the game. And so if you're already filled up, then you have to kind of be like, okay, do I want to get rid of someone and pull someone else in? And so if it's a character that you already control, buying another copy of it will basically level up that character.
Okay.
And it works on a pattern of 3s. So like if you get 3 level 1s, it upgrades to a level 2. Then if you get another 6, I guess, level 1s, that would translate into 2 more level 2s, which would upgrade it to a level 3, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And so like as you upgrade them, like just the stats of them get better as far as like the damage of whatever their attack is or the duration or something like that. And if you upgrade them to level 3, it unlocks like a special feature about like whatever the attack is. Like it might, I don't know, cause bleeding or something like that. That's not, they don't actually have bleeding or anything like that. I'm just trying to give an example of that.
Yeah.
And the thing that's interesting is there's 2 different ways to like upgrade. So you can buy a class over and over again to upgrade that individual party member that you have.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also this a combination of if you get a certain number of a class type within your party, you'll unlock upgrades with respect to that. So it's like class buffs. So like if I get
like prestige classes, kind of.
Yeah. So it's like if I get 3 like conjurers, then the things that are conjuring will deal more damage and stay 50% longer. And if I get 6, then it stacks even more or something like that. And so there's this like weird kind of balance that you have to try and draw where it's like, well, because like the different classes you get, like there's like at the start of the game, like you have really dumb ones where it's like this is just simply a rogue. Like he throws a knife, he is a rogue. But like as the shop, which you can upgrade the shop as well, as that gets higher and higher, you get more complicated characters where it's like, okay, well this is I can't think of an example, but this is like, I don't know, like a demon rider or something like that, where he happens to be a rogue, a sorcerer, and a mage or something like that. And so the idea is if you recruit him, that's fulfilling 3 different party like ticks. And that gets you like closer to upgrading those types if you want to get the class benefits like to your train of characters. And the way it works is each of your characters like has an individual health bar. So as you're doing the actual fighting against the characters that are spawning, if a single character dies, then like your snake becomes that much shorter and you lose that attack of whatever that person was doing.
Okay.
And so you kind of become weaker. So there's this like weird chicken where it's like if things start going bad, it can get really bad really quickly and the run's over.
So you get weaker, but it's harder to run into yourself.
Yeah, there's like a small upside of that you can go faster if depending upon. I'm not sure how they do speed, but I've noticed like some classes are like faster than others. And it seems to be like if you have only like a square, that can outrun people, whereas like a party of 7, if some of them are bulky, it totally will not. So yeah.
So
what were you gonna say?
So you mentioned when you say a run is over, you mentioned you can like retry though, correct?
Yes.
So if you don't retry, do the people that died come back, or is it like now you're down some resources?
No. So as long as one person makes it to the end of like so when I say like a run, that's usually like playing the game until you lose. But like a stage, there's like 25 stages to a run, and as long as you get one person to make it to the end of a stage, then everybody will come in the next run. Like everyone's revived, if you want to think of it that way. It's only yeah. Yeah, and then on top of that, I haven't really talked about the enemies that much, but they're kind of interesting. There's different classes of enemies. I think there's like 4 or 5, and they get progressively harder. So the first one's just like a simple one where it'll speed up the enemies. And so it like what happens is it'll like zap them periodically, and then their speed will increase. And so they can definitely outrun you. And so that's a problem because they'll run into you a bunch, and then you might start losing people if you do that. So you have to kind of predict when it's going to zap people and try and stay farther away from them, or try and deal with them to kill them. There's and sorry, I'm getting this a little bit confused. There's 2 types of stages within these like 25 stages. There's a boss battle every 6 levels, so like 6, 12, 18, 24, and then there's a final one at 25, so 5 altogether. But in the in-between stages, it's just like the minions that you're fighting. But within that, some of the minions can have different classes. So there's a minion that'll zap people. If you also, it only zaps people when you kill it. So there's like a strategy of like, all right, I want to kill that thing last because I don't want to speed up all these other people so that they run into me and like knock my health down. So I'm going to try and stay away from that one as much as possible and kill the other things, and then kill that finally at the end. And within a given stage, sorry for all these like hierarchy of levels things, but within a given stage, there might be like 4 or 5 waves of enemies, and it'll telegraph that and say that like on the top right corner. Okay. So you know like how far you are through it, so you know like how long to hold on for. But for a set wave of enemies, they might spawn 2 or 3 times. So like there might be a big spawn of them in the middle, and then they might spawn in the corners or something like that. And you have to try and navigate like killing all of them within that to try and run away from them.
How reflex based is this?
It's not like there is like a little bit of a learning curve of like getting used to the controls. The big gotcha with the control is if you bounce into a wall, you bounce off at the opposite angle. Okay. So if you were trying to turn right before, after you bounce into the wall, you will be turning the opposite direction as if you look at it, but relation to your character, it's still turning the same direction, if that makes sense. What this translates into is you get into a panic sometimes, and you just go in arcs along the side of a wall while you get pwned by enemies running into you.
You go on tilt. Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, is there any between run progression or anything like that?
Yeah. So, between run progression. So, if you beat the game, you can go to a new game plus, but it's not like a roguelike where like there's like a meta like meter or something like that in between the runs. Like a run is a run sort of thing. So in that sense, it's like Slay the Spire, I would say. I guess with that one, it's a little bit different because you unlock cards run to run.
I was going to say, Slay the Spire definitely changes run to run.
But it's not like a roguelike where like you level up. It's not like that one game that everyone loves.
Hades?
Yeah, it's not like Hades where like you become where you like your stats change run to run. It's not like that at all.
It's expanding the possibilities.
Right. And to be fair, after I don't know your first couple of hours of Slay the Spire, as long as you're playing well, it's gonna stop changing.
Yeah.
If that stagnates pretty quick.
Yeah. But this is like a super fun game. I sunk like a day or 2 into playing it, and I think it's absolutely worth the price. I think it's like, let me check. It's $3, and so it is well worth that deal. And it's like a single indie dev, so I think that part's cool too to support.
I think it's distributed for free on GitHub just by doing a search for it.
Oh dang!
Yeah,
I guess you do that.
I've also seen
so
this.
I guess really, you're paying like $1.50 to Steam and $1.50 to the creator, then probably
something like that. Yeah, I'm seeing this also compared to like auto chess as well.
There is so one thing I didn't mention is there is a incentive so you get money after each run or each stage that you complete. But like auto chess, there's like an interest on your money. So if you have $10, you'll make $1 in interest. If you have 20, you make 2, and so on. Okay. So you're kind of incentivized to be like, all right, I'm only going to buy what I need to buff myself so I can get through to the next level. If I can, like, if I'm already like dominating with my current class, I'm just not going to buy anything and like keep staying the course so that I get more and more money, so that when I actually do need to splurge and like beef up my team, I can do that kind of and have like more money left over.
Right.
It's interesting. You're trying to snowball without snowballing mechanically. You're snowballing monetarily.
Yeah, and that mechanic's similar to auto chess because I think they have the same sort of thing with like the interest system.
Yeah.
And then one thing I forgot to mention too is there's I think it's every 3 levels you get an item, and this could be like what leads you to a game breaking combo. But it'll be 3 different upgrades, and it could be something like neutral and generic, like your speed increases by 10%, and the item you can upgrade by paying money. So you can, instead of it being 10%, you can upgrade it and pay like $10 to get it to 20%, or you can pay another 15 on top of that to get it to like 30% if you want. But then there's other ones that are specific to classes and strategies. So it's like this deals damage based on the number of mages in your party. And so, and there's a couple for each class or strategy. And so the run that I had that I won was with like a warrior party, and I had items that like made them like completely beefy. Right. So, yeah. So that's like a lot of fun too, is you're trying to like, so it's kind of like, it's almost like it's similar to the drafting mechanic in Magic, where it's like, you have to kind of adapt to what items you're getting to find like the best route out of a run. So yeah, it's a really interesting game. It's a very interesting for like the amount of work that went into it. Like a lot of value for a 3-month made game. And the production's like solid on it. It's like, it's not, it's not like 3D or anything like that. It's like a simple 2D game. But even on top of that, there's cool things where it's like you can turn on like an adaptive camera that responds to like how you're controlling it and stuff. And so it's not like sloppily thrown together or anything. Like it's a legit game. But yeah,
if I had to compare like the level of fidelity it's at, it looks like Baba Is You would be a close comparison.
Yeah, that's apt.
Just real. It looks real restrained to me, which is not bad.
Yeah. And I think like the choice is like your party members are squares, right? So it's like there's
right.
I think that's what saves a lot of the development time. But even within that, like the graphics, it feels like just kind of like an arcade type game. So it feels like in the same vein as Geometry Wars, but it's definitely not as flashy as Geometry Wars or whatever in terms of the effects, but it's still good. So,
man, how good is Geometry Wars?
It reminds me of college and Xbox 360 coming out.
Has that gotten like a sequel or anything?
The most recent one is, and by recent I mean it probably came out like 10 years ago, was Geometry Wars 3. I think you can get it on Steam. I think it still works.
I'm surprised that hasn't been a thing that's continued on.
Yeah. Don't know.
I wonder what that dev kind of did. They might have found their next thing.
It was the team that did Midnight Run. Who did Geometry Wars, but I changed the subject. Is what I did there, unintentionally.
Sometimes you got to talk about Geometry Wars.
Yeah. Nice. So SNKRX.
Yep.
Cool. Dennis, how about you?
Yeah, I've got quick hits for old games, so I haven't really played anything new, but been having a lot of fun with stuff I've talked about before. So Trackmania, I finally got all the author times for this season, so I've gotten the highest medal possible for each track, which is nice because I think there are 10 days now into the new season of tracks come out. And while you can still get on the leaderboards after that, you don't get kind of the official recognition for it. So I was playing it on Father's Day. I thought it was going to happen on Father's Day, and it got to a point where it was like, getting close to midnight, and I was driving worse and worse, and I'm like, I gotta call it. Like the Christmas miracle is not going to happen, and
no, you're not going to pull it out.
But yeah, so that continues to be fun. I put more time into Hollow Knight.
Oh dang!
Which is
great.
Yeah, been really really interesting. Like I think I'm getting to the part of the game where it's starting to feel like it's opening up a bit. I got just recently the ability to wall jump essentially.
Yeah.
Which for I'm playing this game not really knowing the extent of mobility that's going to be in it. But Metroid, like, you keep on seeing areas where you're like, if only I could do this, I bet I could get up there. And then sure enough, the ability to do that does show up.
Yeah.
But kind of the area that you go through to get the wall jump ability, you're like warned about multiple times in advance, and these different adventures that you find are like, oh yeah, those long neck fellows down in wherever it is, they are a scary lot, but don't let them scare you off, and they like combat, and they talk about this, and you kind of go in not knowing if you're going to talk to these people or if you're going to fight them. And it is definitely the fight. The first time, like you see one the first time, and I don't know. I probably couldn't even name all these subtle design cues, but you see people in this game, and you'll be like, oh, that's probably an NPC I can talk to.
Right.
They're usually alone, not in an area with a bunch of enemies around, obviously, and kind of standing still, waiting for you to approach. And that's what you see with these. They look like kind of mantis type people. And again, they've been talking up this village, talking about how they've got a civilization in their own way. So I see this thing, and all the cues say this is someone you're supposed to talk to. So I walk on up, and it promptly smacks me across the face, and a fight ensues. So it's a nice little.
They got corrupted.
It's a gotcha. Oh, go ahead.
No, I said they got corrupted.
They got corrupted. Yes.
Yeah.
But it was really a nice little gotcha moment that relied on a bunch of subtle cues that I didn't know that I'd come to expect certain things from. So that level of thought to the design runs throughout. I met a vendor called the Leg Eater. So off the bat, you got to know nothing good is coming from this guy. He offers to show you something shiny for money, which at this point, like I have no idea what the something shiny is. So I pay the money because like that's what you do in video games. And I paid money to be able to see items that I could buy from him. Which
that's just like going to Sam's Club.
What's that?
It's just like going to Sam's Club.
Yeah, basically the Sam's Club of Hollow Nest.
I like the idea of him just showing you the coins that you gave him and be like, check it out.
Super shiny. Well, that's like his thing is he loves the currency is called Geo. And he talks about how lovely and shiny it is and how you can bring it to him. So that would not have been, that would have been a jerk move, but it would not have been beyond the realm of possibility for his character. But he sells you all these pendants that have kind of weak seeming upgrades, but one increases the amount of Geo that you collect. And it's like, oh, great. That's, I spend some Geo to get it and then I can have it equipped and I'm sure it'll pay for itself over time. And, always take the XP earning and the money earning items early in a run. Or early in a game, right? So that I bought that. Only once you've forked over the cash for it do you realize it breaks if you ever die.
Yeah.
And then you get the privilege of paying him to fix it. So, fuck that guy. That was maybe another gotcha moment, but I don't know. I did not like the Leg Eater. Although again, with that name, I
should have known something was up.
Yeah. But delved into an area called Fog Canyon, which just has a bunch of spores and bubble type things everywhere, and for a game that is generally like dark and underground bugs, there's a lot of creativity in different biomes within that, and it's fun to see that explored.
A lot of color.
Yep. That's I was about to say that's Hollow Nest. That's Hollow Knight.
That is one of those games that I'm always jealous when somebody is playing it for the first time.
Oh, and still playing it with my kids, which, now that I've gotten the wall kick and they're starting to use you might have even someone else mentioned kind of the downward strike with your sword is now a mobility thing. Kind of, not the Mighty Ducks game, the not Darkwing Duck.
Yeah, DuckTales.
Sorry, yeah, the DuckTales game. It's got like that kind of feel to it. And actually, that's another thought I had is playing on a controller feels like a disadvantage when that starts being really important. Just because it feels very easy for me to not, especially if you're like jumping sideways, striking down to give yourself a bump up to finish the jump sideways. It is very easy to not like pull the stick in the right direction and you strike sideways instead of striking down, or you kind of hold it down too long and lose your momentum sideways. And so it's just a thing where I could see if you were playing on a keyboard, it feels like it would actually be an advantage.
I didn't run into that. I like it. It took a little bit to kind of get the timing right, but I didn't see myself being limited by playing it on a controller.
Okay. If they don't get too much more complex with it, I'll muddle through. But there was one section with effectively bounce pads that you had to strike that I switched over to the D-pad just because it felt like the directions were more delineated on that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you don't play on the D-pad anyway. Weird.
No, I've been using the stick. I hadn't had to worry about it until that point. But again, as the mobility ante gets upped, I need to find new coping mechanisms.
So this is only tangentially related, but you're mentioning all the mobility stuff. Did you ever play Sundered?
Yes, I never finished it, but I loved that game.
Yeah, because that is probably my gold standard for Metroidvania, like mobility things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of options there, and it just feels good. Which Hollow Knight feels good as well, but in a completely different way. Mm-hmm. The other thing that makes me think it would be good on keyboard is that all the movement is very binary. Like there's no creeping forward. There's no, I talked about the jump last time I talked about this, where like you're either going straight up or straight down, and there's no kind of hover or leeway to it, which makes it very precise. But just maybe controlling it with a more precise instrument would be the right way to go. Yeah. So that's been fun. Any other questions on Hollow Knight?
No. I was just talking about this on Bonfireside Chat earlier today, so I've been thinking about Hollow Knight a lot.
Well, good. It is a game worth thinking about.
Yeah.
And then final little thing I got an update on is LUMI, the little keyboard Guitar Hero type of thing. We've been using it a lot, but I had, for some wild reason, never actually tried one of their games before. I guess my working assumption is like, the kids probably aren't good enough. So there's, you can select songs and quote unquote play the songs like you would in Guitar Hero, and you're scored on it and all that. But they also have games that the conceit is like, there's a little guy running along a platform, and you have to press the key corresponding to the platform he's on to activate a bouncer at the end that will bounce him, over a jump to the next note, essentially. Yeah. And gamification works because the kids had liked it before and they'd play it, but the second we found that game, it was an obsession. And that was the rest of the afternoon, them taking turns and trying to get further in this little like endless runner kind of deal.
So the reason you didn't see that before is because that is a relatively recent addition. That's actually that's a feature that's in beta. I've enjoyed that.
I remember that now. It did say the beta.
Yes. I've enjoyed that as well. Like, what's cool about that is like as you progress, like like each of the little note guys that is running along the platforms that represents the keys you're hitting. Each of those is a like a character, and if you miss and one of them falls, like that's a life. But as you succeed, you gather more people. So like playing well gives you the ability to make more mistakes without failing the song. Which is a neat way to handle it.
Give and take to it. That's funny. I hadn't been paying as much attention to when and where the bonus people showed up. My kids were obviously failing a lot. When there was just one person, it would restart the song each time. And then I started, hey, we got another person. And, we earned another person. I was like, is this like a mercy mechanic? they were playing bad enough. The game was like, nah, we'll let you keep going. But yeah, as you get more people, it's more forgiving. But that has gotten them to like pay attention to timing, in a way that they just hadn't clicked when they were trying to react to the song. And it's cool to see them, taking that in stride, literally, with the LUMI.
Yeah. Did they are they recognizing any of the songs there, or is it like, we'll just play this and then...
definitely. There's like Pompeii by Bastille on there. That's like one of their favorites.
Okay.
Uptown Funk is on there. God, yeah, there's so many, and the song list is genuinely great.
It's being added to like a lot. Like you don't have to pay like extra for DLC or anything. It's just the membership. Yeah.
I don't know who they're in bed with to get all those, but yeah, I imagine they got hooked up with someone big that just had access to all this anyway.
It's, I mean, so they're all covers, which reduces the cost greatly.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So they don't have to pay the recording licensing rights on that, just the composition.
Oh man, that brings me back. That's Guitar Hero 1 days when everything was a cover.
That terrible Killer Queen cover. Yeah.
Fun times.
Nice.
So yeah, it's continued to pay dividends. We also bear it at 6 months old. It's just a wonderful little noise making toy for him. So I'll turn it on and not even go into a song or anything. He just likes to bang on it, and I mean, it lights up and it makes noise. What more can you ask for?
I mean, what? Yeah, like, okay, so you're telling me kids like bright colors and sounds? Weird.
I know this is advanced stuff, but
weird.
Yeah, so
yeah,
everyone's getting a piece of the LUMI. It's I've even been doing like the lesson pass. Like usually we'll have them play a couple songs, and then they'll do like a lesson or two, and then play more songs. And I'll be in there doing lessons with them. And the completionist in me has not let me skip the like super early basic stuff.
Yeah,
it's like no, I will watch every video in every lesson. And it's finally getting to the point where it feels at least vaguely stimulating. So I've suffered through long enough that I'm now going to start getting stuff out of the lessons. And of course, I'm playing plenty of the songs on the side, so it's been fun.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's cool to see it as this thing that kind of meets everyone at their level.
They're super neat things, and I've been playing around with them as MIDI controllers just on the Mac as well for Logic and stuff, and it's been cool. It is a fun little piece of kit.
Yeah, it's nice to have the lights when you're throwing your rave in your house, as I imagine you do, and get that extra bit of personality to your set.
What you do with your kids, yeah.
Kid raves. Cool. Is that all you had?
That is me, yes.
Cool. For me, not a whole lot as well. It's been a pretty light week for all of us, it looks like, and guess what? That's fine. Most of my time has been spent. Earlier today, Dennis, I beat Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
we'll have to talk about that in a more spoilery sense.
Yeah.
Although I'm surprised how much I do not remember about that game. So.
Yeah, no, we're covering it on Watch Out for Fireballs. We're recording that tomorrow. And boy, that's that is a fun game, yes, but the story in that is amazing. Like,
I remember it being very satisfying in a way that a lot of games aren't, especially open world games like that.
Yeah, much cooler than I expected it to be. But that is it's a long game. It took up a lot of my time. So the only new thing. Oh, I also finished up streaming Resident Evil 5 with Jala. Nice. which was a good time. There's some clips on social media if you want to go take a look. But
jumping back to HZD really quick. So that is a hard acronym to say. I'm going to stick with Horizon Zero Dawn, even though it is significantly more syllables. Did you play it with the DLC or without?
I played it with the DLC, but we're not covering any of the Frozen Wilds content.
Okay.
Right.
Cool.
I would like to beat Frozen Wilds before Forbidden West comes out, but
yeah, and that was my motivation. I will be interested to see if you do go do that with your current save, what the Frozen Wilds is like as a end game player going back to it versus me who's kind of taking it in stride as I level up.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Like my understanding is that is like meant for people who are around level 30, which is what I naturally ended up at the end of the main story without doing a whole lot of side stuff. So
okay, yeah. Gosh, I'm this run through. I'm doing literally everything.
Okay.
I think I'm at level 36 or 37 now. And I am definitely like, if I'm at the halfway point, I am barely past the halfway point.
Wow. Yeah. Well, and Frozen Wilds raises the level cap up to 60 as well. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of shit to do in that game.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an open world game in that way. Yeah. But yeah, the only thing that is not for homework that I've been playing that I just kind of dipped into, and this is more just because I've wanted something I could play, a little bit on, a little bit off, and because it was on sale. But Mr. Driller Drill Land. Are you familiar with the Mr. Driller games?
That is quite a name.
Can you repeat that name one more time?
Mr. Driller Drill Land.
I have not heard of this.
Yeah, so this is it's a long-running series, Mr. Driller. This is like a very cute puzzle game.
This is not what I was expecting.
So like devoid of context and hearing you guys react to it, I can kind of hear how it would be something maybe unseemly. No,
not even that. It's just there are a lot of neon and pastel hues in this game that I was not expecting.
Yeah, so it's Namco, and it's kind of a match 3 puzzle game, but you're playing as a little dude. I think some of the characters are ladies, but you're playing as a little character who is going around and drilling these blocks apart. And you have an air meter. It's a little bit similar to like Dig Dug in that way, but what you're trying to do is set up combos. As you drill away some of the larger blocks to cause them to fall, you're setting up combos to result without any of the blocks landing on you and killing you and taking your life. And you're also trying to move quickly enough to get air canisters so that your oxygen doesn't run out, which it just kind of ticks down over time. And you're trying to get as high of a score as possible in as little time as possible. I'm not necessarily playing this as like, super score focused. I'm more just playing it in the sense of like, I'm laying in bed, my eyes can barely focus, and I just want to like set up combos and make the blocks go away kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Basically,
this is Counting Sheep evolved.
Kinda. Like what this is actually for me is what I'm playing in the absence of a proper like portable port of Tetris Attack or Puzzle League or Panel de Pon, any of those where the blocks rise up from the bottom and you're switching them around to set up again combos. This scratches a very similar itch for me. And this is one that had been out. I mean, the original game came out like in GameCube, or the original version of this came out in GameCube in like 2002. The original Mr. Driller was like a 90s arcade game. But this had come to the Switch and never really got on sale and until like this past week when I picked it up. And guess what? Like it's a super fun, compulsive, puzzle game with real quick rounds.
Yes.
The trailer shows none of the gameplay, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's a little bit like unfortunately Puyo Puyo Tetris, which is an amazing puzzle game. Like it is right now, and I haven't updated this opinion in a couple of years, but to my mind, the best portable version of Tetris you can get a hold of. But it's very concerned with its story and with its characters, and it's like this could literally just be black and white. To me, yeah. Maybe not the Puyo Puyo part of it, but like this could just be NES graphics, and as long as it moved fine, I would be perfectly happy with this. I don't need to know about the story of this, which is all these characters going to a drilling themed amusement park.
Again, drilling.
Yeah. That's what you're doing. You're digging around.
Oh no, not Puyo Puyo Tetris. This is Mr. Driller. That makes more sense.
Right.
I mean, Tetris is kind of like anti-drilling, right? You're undrilling things.
It's building and then having it become undone. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a commentary on like the impermanence of all of your accomplishments.
It's a mandala. Yeah, it's building a sandcastle by the right down below the tide line. Yeah. Yeah, I was really in the mood for a puzzle game, and this one lives up to it. It's fun, responsive, quick, and you set up some good combos.
Have you lost yet because you pseudo fell asleep while playing?
No.
All right.
Nope, I do not believe that I have. But I may have like had a suboptimal run because I was a little sleepsy when I was playing. But no, I wouldn't say that there was just like I found myself falling asleep and the switch hit my forehead or anything.
So
it'll happen. Give it time.
My thought is there's, what is it, Tetris syndrome? So is there going to be like Driller Man syndrome where you just start digging everywhere?
Like a dog, like your.
I just found the solution for your yard being overgrown. Turn the entire thing into a drill site.
I mean, the serious answer to that, which I know everybody wants, is it doesn't matter what game you get it from or what activity, it is always called the Tetris effect. So even if you're playing, Guitar Hero or The Witness, when you're seeing those patterns, it's still the Tetris effect.
I feel like the Witness effect should be a separate category.
Why is that?
I thought the Witness effect was when the mob threatens you.
Because you're finding like new instances of it, like you're not seeing the game in real life. You're finding instances of I don't know.
Yeah,
they could be the same chapter of our game history book.
Yeah. But yeah, Mr. Drill Land is good, fun, and I'm happy that it was on sale for $10 because I feel like I got $10 worth of value over the past few days with it.
Yeah. Oh, that's something I don't think we mentioned it while Ben was talking about. The SNKRX game is a $3 game.
Yeah. Ben mentioned that briefly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is nice.
Nice. Well, that seems like a grind to me.
Multiplayer.
Now it is time for the multiplayer, where we ask you a question and then you answer it normally. However, this time instead, we are going to be switching it around. This is going to be a free play. This is where you ask us the questions and then we answer it to the best of our ability. What game is this image from on here, Dennis? The man in the purple coat?
This is pulled from Knockout City.
Gotcha. Okay.
It looks like Borderlands in terms of or it looks similar to the art style of the first game.
It's pretty Borderlandsy.
Yeah, it's not cell shaded, but it is cartoony.
Let's see here. Ollie asks, so I've been playing Overcooked. It's fun and a real change of pace game-wise for me. It's also part of that
game.
It's also part of that genre of people doing a quote regular job that has had some stellar entries lately. Papers, Please, Return of the Obra Dinn, etc. What profession do you think would work well as a game that hasn't already been represented?
Real quick, Return of the Obra Dinn is apparently not about what I think it's about.
What do you think it's about?
I thought that was like a murder mystery.
I mean, kinda. You're an insurance adjuster who is going around, and you need to, like, in order to determine the payout, you need to determine who died of what and who was responsible for it. So it is a murder mystery, but like it is couched in you being this 19th century insurance guy.
And I had mixed Return of the Obra Dinn with the Yogg to get Return of the Yogg in my mind.
Oh, that'd be
which
fun.
Would be a very interesting mashup. Yes.
Yeah. I was about to make a joke about that, but I don't want to reveal what the Yogg is.
Well, I was going to say, like, you have to be an insurance adjuster preparing for the arrival of the Yogg, but you completely don't know what it is.
You just have the legend. You need to figure out which of the four players is most responsible for the damage that results. Oh, you're out chopping wood too much, buddy.
I think we actually just pitched a pretty good game.
I think we did. Yeah. So this is a genre of stuff that I really like. I mean, like, I don't know, on my to play / to stream list, there's the gas station simulator where you simulate owning a gas station. There's the power wash simulator. Farming simulator had like a pretty big update here recently. Yeah, it's hard for me to think of one that I know that there are professions that have not been replicated, but like I never know I want to be a power washer until I see the trailer for Power Wash Simulator and say, I want it. Give it to me.
I can pull from personal experience on this one and say, in that same vein, I want to see a pool cleaner video game. It would be a lot like the power washer thing, but you get to check some chlorine levels and sweep out the pool, clear some leaves.
Yeah, skim, a lot of skimming.
Arrange the furniture in an aesthetically pleasing way. That was my second job, I guess, but it was a high school gig.
Oh, nice.
It was phenomenal. Got a nice tan, took a dip whenever I felt like it. If the day got hot,
yeah,
I was done by 10 every day, but getting a nice salary for having a route.
That's the nice that is kind of the perfect kind of job. It's outdoors, but it's not especially hard labor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, I imagine in this game you could dive into the pool to get stuff out or just to do it, and you'd have like an air meter, a breath meter, but you're never really under threat of running out of breath.
Yeah.
But there's water in a game, so you have to have it.
Maybe there's a lonely housewife.
Oh yeah. Now we're back to Mr. Driller.
So in lieu of my own answer, I'm really bummed because there was one today that I wanted to play. It was a demo that was up for the Steam Fest, but by the time I went to play it, it was pulled down. It's called Unpacked or Unpacking or something like that, which is like literally just it's like this pixel art game that's about like organization and decoration, where you are unpacking boxes and like setting up rooms.
That's horrifying.
To clear.
Oh, there was something like that on Google Stadia.
Yeah, you're probably thinking of Moving Out, which is like it was an Overcooked like kind of thing, where it was about moving furniture cooperatively. Yeah.
Apparently moving is a rich vein,
I suppose.
Yeah, that why would you subject yourself to that?
I don't know. Oh, there's another one that I missed. I missed this. It was going to have a demo on. Oh gosh, Game Pass. It's a game called Lake, where you're playing as a small town male person in this lake town in the 90s or the 80s.
Is it an occupation or a sex?
No, I'm occupation. Sorry, letter carrier. You're playing. That's the term. You're playing as a letter carrier, going around door to door and giving people stuff and getting to know them, and that seems kind of nice.
They streamed that on the Video Game Awards Twitch channel over the weekend.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm super excited about that. That looks very cozy. So those are mine, which are just upcoming ones that address a need that I didn't know. Do you have one, Ben?
I have a vague one that I thought about this last week. I thought it'd be cool to have a game where it's like a dinner party simulator where you're trying to make like the best dinner party, and so it's like Paper Please in the sense where you have like bios on your friends and stuff like that, and so you're trying to think of like the most considerate like food to prepare or like dinner conversations or stuff like that. I thought that could be a game that people could get into.
Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah.
Why not? Like the late game can be a wedding planner.
Sure.
How about you, David?
So I'm thinking maybe the person that gets to scare away the geese from airports.
Oh, with like those air cannons.
Yeah. It would basically be like inverted Untitled Goose Simulator. So or the other one, and this is a little bit different, but I want someone to make basically like the Destiny / Devil May Cry of firefighting games.
Okay.
Where I'm like, I don't know, like parkouring through a house to like rescue people and like dodge rolling away from falling debris and stuff like that.
So what you want is Dust Force, but with danger?
Maybe?
Dust Force is like a super meat boy.
Dust Force. I heard Dust Horse.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Basically, yes. That's exactly what I want. And with like killer loot, I want, I don't know, upgrade my hose to be some sort of badass golden like dragon mouth hose or something.
Yeah.
Is it
Nice.
a bullet hose? No, just a hose.
Just a hose. Let's hear. Callum writes, is there a genre of game that used to be popular, but now isn't, that you would like to see revitalized? How would you do it? Rhythm games, exactly as they were, baby. Plastic instruments and all. It's back.
First off, I want to thank everyone for coming to my pitch. This is an idea I've had forever, and I would love your money to bring this to life. I want to revitalize the text-based adventure game, but do it like via Bluetooth, and this is where I lose everyone. Do it via Bluetooth in your car via speech recognition. So like you're listening to a podcast, it's telling you a story, and then it asks you like, go left, go right, or pick up Get You Vase or Flask or whatever it is.
Okay.
And you just respond with voice while, in transit. It's another way to spend your commute. I've always thought that would be fun, although sure to get you sued.
Oh, I mean, you would absolutely crash into the nearest abutment. Yeah.
Well, you can be on a phone call, like via Bluetooth in the car. So,
I suppose.
Yeah, and crash into the nearest apartment.
like I said, thank you for coming to my pitch. It ends this way every time. But no, actually, the
Sell
thing.
it to Tesla.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can play that. Play games in the dash. So
Jesus.
The thing that made me think of this, they're little booklets. Cole, I think you and Gary did one for a WAF at some point, or one of your podcasts, where essentially it's a booklet. One person is reading the booklet, the other person is making choices, and it kind of mimics the feel of the old text-based adventure.
Yeah, these are parsley games. It's like a pamphlet that has the possibilities based, and one person proctors it.
And what a fantastic little experience, and packaging that up in a way like an interactive podcast essentially is what I'm looking for.
Yeah. David, how about
that
you?
what we're doing right now?
I mean, for us, it's interactive. I mean, I assume
don't
everybody
respond to our multiplayers while you're in the car, please. Unless you are a passenger.
Or you can pull off to the side of the road, which I encourage you to do.
That's allowed.
Just immediately across 5 lanes. Please don't do that. Ben, how about you? What would you want to bring back?
Oh, I thought, just like good RPGs.
Yeah, okay.
I know that's like something, I don't know. Like I just think of like Knights of the Old Republic, and it's like there's glimmers of good RPGs like that at certain points of times, like Divinity Original Sin, but it's not like the 3D RPG situation. So
Are you just asking to bring back low expectations though?
If that gets me another version of Coder, then sure, let's do it.
I mean, like, what you want is BioWare to be good again? It sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please don't have a 2-choice, 3-choice ending and call that an ending. Though they do that in Knights of the Republic, but it's whatever.
Yeah.
I'm saying, but you had lower expectations.
But I'm saying that they like only do that in other games now. So.
And go ahead.
No, that's it.
Oh, David, how about you?
So that's really tough. I'd say maybe MMOs. Particularly, I don't know if we could just like get a sequel to City of Heroes that was actually good. So like actual character customization and actual action-y gameplay.
What was that one? Champions Online? Was that the?
It just was kind of meh.
Yeah, it didn't take off.
They tried a first-person shooter MMO at one point, didn't they? I think it was called like Tabula Rasa or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know if that was them. That was a interesting game, just in terms of being in a lot of ways a good game that just spectacularly misunderstood how humans work.
And then, go ahead.
So like its respec system was that at parts of the game where you had to like commit to a major choice, so mainly like switching classes, you basically got the ability to clone your character. Like not like just using that, like literally in world, like we're going to clone your character, and so one of them will take this class, the other one will take this other class, but they're two completely different people. It's like, yeah, that's super compelling from a story standpoint. Similarly, you got virtually no XP from killing things, and ammunition. Basically, when you got cool new weapons, the way they balanced them was making the ammunition limited. So basically, in all cases, if you made a decision that solves the problem on paper but ignores the things that make humans happy, you basically end up with tabula rasa. Sorry, I didn't realize I had such a chip on my shoulder for that.
It's
it
part of
doesn't
the
sound
healing
good.
process.
Yeah, no, you got to give it a name.
I think my snarky answer for this would be if From Software could make a Soulsborne game.
Jeez. Did you try Sekiro and not like it?
That's basically just taking all the bad parts of Soulsborne and putting them together.
I mean, it's different. I would say it's not necessarily very Soulsborne-y. Yeah.
Honorable mention to light gun games. That was the shit.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Oh yeah.
Those had a little. Those had like a mini renaissance on the Wii and like the PS Move and stuff. Yeah.
Really, I remember being super excited. Like I had the plug-in light guns, and then the rise of HD TVs kind of killed it.
Yep. Let's see here, Casey. This one should be quick. What you drinking? I've got the last like eighth of a Diet Coke here. Yeah. It'll last me the rest of the session here.
Carbonated water for me.
Cool.
The various fruity versions of V8 juice.
Okay. Did you say foodie or fruity?
Fruity.
Gotcha. So just a real chunky juice.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to trick my body into eating vegetables. So,
whatever it takes. That's why I drink smoothies.
Yep.
Word. I'm just drinking water.
Yeah.
Wow, this is the depressingly vanilla answer to that question.
I feel good about it.
I think we're adults now.
Yeah,
is that how that?
I was about to say like the days of the 3 beer level or DTR recording session and the terrible night of sleep afterwards. That's gone. I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was when I could do a 3 beer DTR and sleep great.
Oh yeah,
nothing. But yeah, times have changed.
Yep.
I actually the tangent. I might be drinking a beer tonight, except I'm trying something new, and doing kind of a little mini like last call for food and any drink at 8:30 every night. And so rather than just setting time being like I don't eat after whatever time, I've actually got an alarm that says last call, and I feel like that's the little psychological twist of like, okay, if you want something, get it now. Otherwise,
it's not.
it's a choice.
It's not denying yourself something. It's just a reminder, like, hey, get it in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, I feel like for that to work, I would need to hire a grizzled like Brooklyn bartender to be like, tell me it's last call.
Oh, you just select that alarm on iPhone. It says grizzled bartender.
I would need lots of ladies to just find different ways to tell me no. That is a joke that has nothing to do with my life. Like I've ever been at a bar at last call trying to pick women up.
I thought you were trying to get your last drink, and all the lady bartenders were telling you no.
Oh, you've had too much. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Cutting you off.
Let's see. I need to get back to that tab. I had to check something real quick. Rookie asks, I've been reading some novels that are unequivocally bad. The supervillainy series, if anyone else loves reading trash full of typos. And yet I can't stop myself from reading and enjoying their nonsense. Do you have any books, games, movies, or whatever that you know are bad, but you still enjoy the hell out of? I mean, sure. This is probably more like along the lines of things that I know are not great, but I'm more I'm like nostalgic for them. You know, see the previous conversation about the Forgotten Realms Drizzt books, right? You know, the Icewind Dale and all of that. Like, are those high literature? Could I be could I have spent that time, or like when I took a stab at rereading of some of them recently, could I have spent that time reading something more edifying? Yeah, probably. But whatever, it's fine.
I could be working out right now instead of recording a podcast.
Yeah, I could be feeding the poor, and like that would be a good thing to do, but also, yeah, that doesn't necessarily invalidate every other thing you're doing if you're not doing it. So yeah, I guess it's just like, I understand this is mediocre, but it holds a place in my heart, and that is fine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think for mine, I will watch very trashy television as long as I'm doing it with friends and we're making fun of it. So in college, we did this with Jersey Shore. And then a year ago, I did it with friends virtually with the show Love is Blind.
Ooh, yeah.
But it's got to be real trashy, though.
So that's funny. Do you consider that to be watching the show, or do you consider that to be socializing? I was that primarily as like as socializing. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like if somebody asked, "Oh, what television do you watch?" I would say like, I'd get back and forth in like Bob's Burgers, then like just prestige dramas, you know.
Yeah, it's not something I would do by myself.
Yeah. David, how about you?
So this is a tough one. So this is one I would argue actually is good, but maybe is not always known to be good or agreed to be good. I will definitely go to bat. Pretty much all of the animated Star Wars series have been, I think we're now up to better than most of the movies.
I think prequel memes would agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely better than the prequels, and what I've seen. I saw the first of the new trilogy, and better than that, not as good as Rogue One. Well, about equal to Rogue One.
Those fighting words when Ben's around.
So, but yeah, no, I would
remember my hatred for that movie.
I would just maintain those. Basically, it seems like the new strategy for Star Wars is make an awful trilogy of movies and then make several series that slowly reinterpret it until it's halfway decent. So
you also need a good culture of memers to like help you see the positive side of what would otherwise be kind of a sloppy movie.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, if for what this matters, I have also like I've never heard people dunk on the animated Star Wars stuff. I've only heard like good to neutral things about like the Clone Wars, or what's the most recent one, like the Bad Bunch or whatever.
Bad Batch is coming out now, so that's my.
I think what it is those, you know, those series are just far enough out of the limelight that no one that isn't enamored with Star Wars finds them. Like you're gonna have Star Wars Prime thrust upon you. It's in our culture. Like you can't avoid it. You can be into Star Wars like I am and completely miss all the Clone Wars and Rebels and all that stuff. Like I haven't seen hide or tail of that. Yeah. So, you know, I think the reason it could be that the content is better, but it's also just that the audience is so much warmer.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of the thing is, like you said, Kole, it's not so much that people are, like anti it so much as a lot of people just, don't. It's not on the radar.
Yeah.
In particular, I'd say the Clone Wars stuff is just noteworthy for like kind of retroactively making the prequel trilogy work.
Yeah. I mean, turning Anakin and Obi-Wan into characters with like a relationship.
Right. And, like having illustrating a time when Anakin was a redeemable character.
Right, as opposed to an annoying little kid or
the pre-children murder Anakin.
Right.
Yep.
Younglings, please.
Yeah, excuse me.
Also, I'm just a huge fan of...
Do we call children younglings like we call, cow beef? Is that what we're doing here? Gives us some removal from it?
Yeah, I think so. I love the just the take where Ewan McGregor cannot say and he murdered all the younglings with a straight face. So like he says it and then you can see him about to break and then it cuts away from him.
God bless him though. He tried so hard.
Oh man. Good.
I'm also a big proponent of children's shows that just teach incredibly depressing life lessons.
Okay.
And the original run of Clone Wars just ends with Ahsoka realizing that the Jedi Order is irredeemably corrupt, and that's where it ends.
Yeah, that's a good lesson.
It's like, yep. The most important thing to remember, kids, is that you can't trust anyone in power.
Yeah. And that's why Lord of the Rings is good, because the only lesson is the only takeaway is hey, nobody should have power. Power is actually the one bad thing that ever exists. Yeah. Ben, how about you?
Where are we at?
Oh no, sorry. I was going to say I was going to say Dennis, but then I said Ben. Dennis, bad thing that you enjoy.
Oh
yeah.
At least mediocre. I know when I wish I was still watching was America's Next Top Model. Like that was my go-to. Yeah, just like we kind of. I try to steer in reality TV. I try to steer towards people doing things they love versus just people in contests and acting the fool.
Right.
The people on Jersey Shore love to get wasted every weekend.
I grant you that. And America's Next Top Model was like as close to the line between those two things as you could get. And I loved it. And I don't know. The last season, I think in 2018 or something. So I think it's just gone. Another show like that, but probably higher production, like it's an award-winning show and stuff, so it doesn't really count. But So You Think You Can Dance is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I think that one's not the objectively bad. It's just reality TV, so can kind of be in that category by default.
So like what you're saying unlocks this whole category of things that we often talk about on Abject Suffering, or just me and Gary, which is like hotel shows that we'll watch. Like if you just go in and you see that Chopped is on, or Cutthroat Kitchen, or Guys Grocery Games, like any of those food competition shows like that. Not quite like Top Chef where it's the same contestants, doing like a long time thing. What I want is a game show that is just that just happens to have food people in it. So. Yeah,
it's like they like went and did the Great British Baking Show, and that like there's no reason to do other variants of a cooking show. They will, but it's just not necessary. They perfected it. It's, the end.
And then the final question we have here, Greg asks, has a game ever helped you in real life with something? Increased knowledge, better reflexes to avoid a car accident, etc. David, how about you?
I'm not sure I can think of anything. I mean, there's the go-to like, distractions from real life. Which is constitutes help with real life.
We can come back around if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say mine because I played Rock Band at your house in college, and then I went back to my house. And I'm like, I'm gonna try and play drums now, and so I was able to make that transition from that game. So
nice.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, instrument games are like the universal answer to this. I'm trying to think of something that doesn't fall in that category.
Yeah, no, that was definitely the case for me. Like even with Guitar Hero back, I played that in high school. I was like, oh, guitar could be fun. And then I just bought a real guitar off of a classmate. I still have that. It's a terrible guitar, but I cannot bring myself to get rid of it because it is sentimental to me.
Yeah, so like when I played GTA, I'm like, oh, meth could be fun.
That's the problem with meth. It's too fun.
I would say I gotta not on the meth. No, I'm pivoting from meth. I have a specific memory of playing Gone Home.
Okay.
And at risk of being spoilery about that game, although it's been probably a decade now, I don't know.
You go home.
Yeah, you do go home, but the moment of kind of hearing about your sister coming out to her parents and their reaction not being anger or anything like that, but being disbelief as the most hurtful thing, like, oh well, it's just a phase.
Yeah.
Or anger, like, and that being the most hurtful thing really, really stuck with me. To where I had a sibling come out recently, and overall overwhelmingly positive experience for them, but certain family members, not to them but to me, expressed like variants of like, oh, isn't this just a phase? And just I immediately went back to playing Gone Home and was like, oh, like, no, that is a huge, like, that I don't think I would recognize that reaction as the big deal or as hurtful as it was had I not played that game.
Yeah, that's a really good answer. I like that. I don't have one that is like that specific and that meaningful or like socially good. But for me, like navigating, getting around and stuff, I feel really good at getting around, like getting around while driving or getting around in physical places because of spending so much time looking at maps and games, I guess.
The breadcrumbing is strong with this one.
Yeah.
According to UC psychology class, that's called a cognitive map. I have no idea if that's used beyond that, but yeah.
I remember learning about, like, literally there's an entire function of your brain dedicated to just like, I've been here before.
Yeah,
which is why we're so prone to deja vu, and it's why it's so easy to remember and recognize when you've been in a space before.
Yeah, I know there's also a lot of interesting studies of like what are other things that that people map to that part of the brain. So like apparently programming predominantly uses that part of the brain.
And so, I mean, like that is also a way that people memorize very long strings of information, is to kind of like build an imaginary place in their head that kind of just uses that spatial memory as well. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think for me, actually, this is a strangely specific thing, but the concept of like hit confirmation in fighting games, where basically in a combo, if a certain attack in the combo hits, you then know it's safe to continue the combo as opposed to bailing out, is actually really applicable to stick fighting.
Okay.
Like really, and actually unarmed fighting too. So that's like the whole concept of like a jab in boxing is, it's a light, uncommitted attack, but if it hits, that your opponent is in range, and that's when you immediately launch your power attack. So
that is cool, huh?
Also, less seriously, so Gone Home is an amazing game, and I would not change it for the world. However, there is a part of me that kind of thinks it would be hilarious if, the whole setup of, it kind of implying it's a survival horror game, if at the last minute you got up to the attic and there's like a serial killer that chases you through the house.
I was worried that that I was going to find something terrible in the attic.
Oh, yeah. So was I.
It was going to be a Fridge Your Gaze game.
Right. Yeah. I was worried about that. I was just had no idea that it was going to be heartwarming like it was. Yeah. Huh. Have all of us answered that? Are we all?
I think so.
Yeah.
Buttons.
No, we've got the other one. Thank you everybody for answering that, especially at that's not a passive aggressive. Especially I was about to say, especially on short notice
until middle of the day. So yeah, you guys are quick on the trigger. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, good questions. If you'd like to participate in these in the future, go to facebook.com/The Level Podcast and watch for those to go up. Usually on Monday afternoons, or whenever Dennis or Jolly get around to it. They do it out of the kindness of their hearts. So whenever they do it is fine. Thank you very much for
kindness
posting
of my
it.
heart and the slowness of my brain some days.
The end, boss.
Now it is time for the end, boss, where we talk about things that are happening in the world of video games that are exciting to us. Dennis, you're the first person to post a link here, so I will throw it to you first.
Yeah, they did it, guys. Cyberpunk 2077 is fixed on PlayStation 4.
And by fixed, you mean they hastily put like a Post-it note on the box that said, "Seriously, though, don't run this on a base model PS4."
Yeah,
yeah, it's back in the PSN store, but they say, "No, we'd really recommend using a PS4 Pro if you could."
Yeah, PS4, but not. Yeah, so somebody they forked over enough cash to Sony to get back on the store or something.
Maybe.
Yeah, I was going to say, doesn't that directly violate PlayStation's policy? Like, wasn't the whole thing like, hey, we're coming out with PlayStation Pro, but games absolutely aren't allowed to not run on PlayStation regular?
Yeah, that was the idea.
Yeah.
But
that's the way I'd like for it to be.
Yeah, the console generation jump made them lax, I guess. And really, I don't think there are any examples of that not being the case, except for Cyberpunk. So it just got too big for their capabilities, I think.
Maybe.
But it's on the store again, which really has done nothing but prompt a litany of posts showing how it is still broken, even on a PS4 Pro.
Right.
It is still pretty busted.
God, my understanding is it's busted on like a best in class PC. Like it's just the game itself is kind of shit.
This one got away from him, and I think there's probably a point of gotten away from you that you're not going to get it back, no matter how much time you invest. You're never going to totally get it back.
I just if I put in 80-hour weeks, or if my relationships suffered, or my marriage fell apart, or like I missed a single dance recital for my kids, and the game that came out was this, I would be fucking furious.
Yeah. I mean, the other side is you get laid off and shut down, I guess.
But
it's terrible. It's just a bad situation all around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But don't buy this game on PS4 in any form.
Yeah.
And buy this game at your own peril on any other platform. I keep on eyeing it on Stadia, like I talked about. And it's slowly but surely coming down in price there. We'll see if it ever gets low enough to pull the trigger on. But yeah, so a milestone that it's actually been approved for the store. Honestly, the interesting thing I've seen is with E3 being last week, the wave of people being like, remember, no pre-orders.
Yeah.
I would be interested to see statistics on the death of the pre-order that Cyberpunk has called or has caused.
No Man's Sky was supposed to do that like 4 or 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
But they eventually made it good.
How many years later, though? How many years does Cyberpunk have?
Probably 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
David, I do want to say, I do want to point out that that is a half good game. Like, I'm glad that you've had a good experience with it, but I am still very upset with that game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I put in like 40 hours with it, played in December, and then like the base building like completely broke, and I could not get in my own base that I had built. So
Yeah, to be fair, I've engaged virtually not at all with base building.
gotcha.
So
I said I
for
enjoyed
me-
the game. I didn't say I played the game.
Yeah. Well, for me it was like all about the freighter and frigate thing. It's basically I played this game the same way I played Subnautica. Don't build a base, just have a awesome vehicle.
Yeah. For mine, this is I guess I'm just leading into hey buyer beware. So a company that I really like is Limited Run Games. They have been around for a while, but they've really gotten super active recently. What they do is they started out by like doing physical copies by publishing limited physical runs of indie games. For like Switch and for systems, consoles and stuff, right? Which is neat because sometimes you want to have a physical copy of something. They've moved into like republishing older games. So one of my news stories here recently was they are going to be re-releasing Zombies Ate My Neighbors and Ghoul Patrol. Physically, but also as a downloadable as well, which is how I'm getting it. But yeah, like it's a cool company, and they are like rescuing stuff from the scrap heap of history, or things that would have been fallen out of favor. What they're also doing is they are, I think, maybe just as a gag, republishing a game that was originally for the 3DO called Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. Which is an execrable, barely interactive. I mean, it's literally just an FMV game that plays a video from front to back. That is just like really sexist and pretty gross about a couple hooking up. We covered it on Epic Suffering and expected to goof about it, but we were actually like pretty upset at how shitty it was. So you just get you get a sense for that. But yeah, so I guess this is just the equivalent of like publishing a .m4v file on a Switch cart or what have you. This is a quote game that you could play just by watching it on YouTube. So don't spend money on this if you can help it, please. Actually, would be my recommendation.
And not spending time on it seems like it would also be a good idea.
Yes. Listen to the Epic Suffering about it instead. Hear us get righteously indignant and on our high horse about it.
We do this kind of stuff so you don't have to.
Yeah. That was the old slogan of the show. Mm-hmm. So
but
yes.
Also because you pay us to do it.
Well, I mean, yeah. And also that, yeah. But yes, plumbers don't wear ties, and people ought not buy this game. Let's see here. I'm gonna do Ben's first, David, because yours is funny, but also not related to video games strictly.
Yeah, it has no relation to anything.
Ben, what exists?
This is a nice segue from talking about Cyberpunk. This was a game that was at E3 called Citizen Sleeper. That is it looks like a smaller indie type game, but it looks like it has maybe a correct implementation of what people were wanting for this, where it's kind of like a hard sci-fi story. Your consciousness in a body where the body's starting to fail. It's an RPG game. There's die rolling. You choose where the die go on different actions that you can try as you're trying to upgrade yourself. So
I choose for them to always go to the 6 or 20 respectively.
Oh, wait, what? Oh, no, I'm saying so you roll the dice and you choose where to place the die.
I know what you meant. I was being a dad.
Dad's got a dad, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks cool. That's just I'm stealing Kole's "This is a thing that exists" segment. So.
Yeah. This is an announcement that was made. Like you're on a space station and you're trying to accomplish things while also avoiding like the security stuff that's out. And this is
The corpos.
like, and this is explicitly like really informed by like board game board game kind of stuff, where like it's done in rounds. Yeah, they showed this, I think, at the PC game show, and that was one that I made a note of. This was like it owns. Yeah.
Yeah, it is mind-blowing to watch board games and video games just merge back into each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are so many board games that are trying to approximate the video game experience. I have a group that on Saturday is going to start playing Madara, which I'm really excited for. And that's what it is. And then there are so many video games that are just approximating the board game experience. I mean, largely it works. Like there's a reason that you're seeing a lot of it. So I'm not against it at all, but it's just a fascinating evolution to watch.
Yeah. If you can take the pros of both things and combine them into one thing, then you get a really good product. So
well, and I think the framing of this as a video game that is like a board game gives you so much permission to not have to invest in the insane graphics and to kind of just eschew anything that isn't core to the systems of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
so
if you
it's
take
a conceit that consumers get, and will then give you more permission.
Mm-hmm.
What were you going to say, David?
Also, if you take the worst of both things and put them together, you get a really good tax write-off.
Oh gosh. Yeah, this looks like it owns, and I wish it was coming out sooner. And then David, what kind of just nonsense is Tesla up to?
Yeah, so this wasn't actually Tesla itself, although it does sound like something Musk would do. A YouTube channel published a video demonstrating that if you tow a Tesla with its brakes on at 70 miles per hour, it will actually recharge its battery at a fairly rapid rate.
And all you have to do is replace your brakes when you're done.
So electric vehicles actually don't have disc brakes.
What?
Oh.
So in effect, what this isn't exactly right, but you're in effect. Are you familiar with like engine braking with a stick shift?
Yeah. You would do that to like slow down when you would change your gears. You would shift gears up while you're going down a hill in order to slow your descents. Yeah.
Right. So basically, what you're doing is burning off energy from like the entropy of just the engine running, and so that's in effect what you're doing here is just running the generator in the opposite direction. I mean, that's not truly it, but that's kind of the idea.
Right.
So yeah, someone, lest you think this was done responsibly, this is not like a Tesla behind a tow truck, or even a Tesla connected to like an actual what do they call the like tow things you attach to a truck?
Like a winch?
Yeah, a hitch. No, this is a Tesla connected to a car by a rope.
Good God.
And
how do you stop it?
And lest you think this was done in a limited safe environment, this was done for 25 miles, presumably on a actual road.
Can I arrest these people? Like, I don't want to call the cops because cops, but can I arrest them?
Yeah, you could do a citizen's arrest.
Okay. Oh my yes, I'm watching them pull out into traffic right now. What the hell?
Not a closed course.
Wow. Crazy.
Maniacs. So it stands to reason. Is there any component that would be burned out? I mean, like, that's probably not a good thing to do to the tires, right?
So, yeah, I mean, it would, there would be, like, general speaking, wear and tear on the car as if you, like, drove that. However, I don't think there would be any wear beyond if you, like, drove at that speed and distance.
Okay. Yeah. I think I would still just wait.
Oh, yeah. Like, the only scenario I can think of is just some sort of like MacGyver scenario where, you don't have, I don't know, electric whatever, so he connects the wheel of the car to like a water wheel with a, I don't know, with a hose because MacGyver.
It doesn't sound terribly. It doesn't sound terribly different or like any weirder than like push starting a manual transmission, right?
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I actually ran into this article on Hacker News, which Reddit type thing, and someone else raised a linked to an article that apparently in one of the Nordic countries, I forget which, they have a system where they basically have iron mines at the top of a mountain, and they fill up the train cars with iron and send them down the down to the manufacturing plant at the bottom of the mountain, with the momentum charging up the batteries enough to power the empty cars back up the mountain.
Oh, well, nice.
I mean, couldn't they just consolidate all of the labor onto one Australian man? That's a deep Futurama cut right there.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
When I see this article, I think of like jets refueling in midair. This opens the door for like tow trucks on the highway to like try and tow the Tesla mid highway to refuel it.
Oh yeah, that's some kind of like it wasn't the A Team that had that. Who was it?
No, it was Knight Rider. It was the Kit.
Yeah, that's right.
There was just a truck that Kit came in, and it would deploy out the back. Yeah.
Yeah, I also saw a article this week that they did a mid-air refueling with via drone this week. So everything's converging.
Yeah.
How much fuel did the drone carry?
Drones are pretty large.
Yeah.
Oh, is this like the drone that like kills people, the military, or like?
Yeah.
The drone that's the size of a jet. Yeah.
I was thinking of like the ones that people race for fun.
Oh, a quadcopter?
Quadcopter, yeah. It was just lifting up a jerry can.
Yeah, it's 5 gallons.
Good luck.
Oh no, the hook detached. I may have technically bombed a school. Cool. How do you all feel about buttoning it up?
Let us button.
The credit.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of The Level. I really appreciate you taking the time. Right now, I'm going to make the call. Next week, we will be on, but let's take the week of July the 4th off.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
How's that? How's that sound? To observe. Cool. Thumbs up. So yeah, that is that is business taken care of. Also business you could take care of would be to rate or review the podcast, tell your friends, talk about us on social media, or go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. Is there anything I'm forgetting that is pressing to address?
Don't think so.
Okay. I've been Kole Ross. You can find me on Twitter @KoleRoss.
I've been Dennis Furia. You can find me on Instagram @Deck of Wonders.
I've been David Maysmith. I got nothing.
And I've been Ben Merkel.
And stick around for some titles. All right, I have 4. I have This Has Merit, Geometry Snake, Kid Raves, and Pivoting from Meth.
I had Kid Raves and Pivoting from Meth.
Okay.
But I also had far and away my favorite, The Sam's Club of Hollow Nest.
Okay. Okay, there we go. Yes, Hollow Nest. Let's see, David, do you have anything?
Yeah, so I have old and discredited restaurants, dang old mower, snake doctor, and now we're back to Mr. Driller.
Okay. Ben?
I also had dang old mower.
Okay.
I had a bunch of weird ones that I wrote of people saying things that I took out of context. So I had vaguely stimulating.
That's okay.
I have my kids were obviously failing a lot. I have we found no amount of joy in that.
Okay.
And I have I'm pivoting from meth.
Okay.
So
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I realized pivoting from meth one, but I kind of like my kids were obviously failing.
I like my kids were obviously failing a lot too. That's fun. Are you okay with are you okay with them finding that and then coming back and outnumbering you, Dennis?
Oh yeah, no, that is all right.
Okay.
Pouring one out for the Sam's Club of Hollow Nest. That one tickled me.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna
have a good night, guys.
Go to bed. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a good week.
Sure.
Bye.
All right,
See ya.
See ya.